Hi, I'm Deborah Dahab, your expat coach and intercultural psychologist. Today, we're going to talk about communication styles in different cultures. So, when I went back to Brazil after some time abroad, I started to work in a company. And after a while, I got feedback that I was very assertive and that people were feeling a bit intimidated by my style. Well, I thought about it and I could tell that my style was really straight to the point and that other people usually started with, "Hi, how are you?" A little bit of small talk, a little bit of, getting engaged with the person in conversation before they actually asked what they wanted. So when I got that feedback, it really made me think. And I ended up making a few tweaks to my communication style, which is still assertive. But now I understand that when you're in an environment that is a high context environment, which I will explain in a minute, it's important to engage in what we would talk to about, like kind of the small talk, how are you doing, talk about the weather, etc., etc. So these two communication styles are very important when looking into intercultural communication. If you're going to a new country, a new culture, or even if you have people from a different culture working with you, it's important to be mindful and knowledgeable about these styles. So, the high context communication style. The communication will be quite formal. There will be many silences, and the logic is not linear. It's a little bit, it's called spiral logic. So it's not like A, B, C. Other factors might be involved in a person's reasoning. One important aspect about this is that the relationships and the bigger picture, meaning the community and the collective, are really important when this communication style. So it's not a surprise that many countries in the East and in Latin America, for example, where the community and being in harmony with the community is really important. So that's the high context style. The low context communication style is what I was doing. It's going straight to the point. It's quite an informal way of talking verbally. It's linear logic. So, for example, in a meeting, when someone who has a low context communication style will tend to want to get straight to the point and get to the issue of the meeting. If you're dealing with someone that is in a high context communication style, that would be the opposite. They would want to talk about the weather, talk about, little things that might not be directly related to the work. And only after that, only after a certain rapport, only after a certain relationship has been established, then the issue at hand will be taken care of. So it's really important if you're dealing with people from different cultures. And this really is, if you're going to a new culture, this is especially important because you are going to be immersed in another culture. But that's not only the case. If you're receiving people, if people from other cultures are in your culture, communication is really important regardless, right? It's important to be able to convey our ideas and be understood, right? Communication is not what we say, but what other people perceive. So to make sure that other people perceive what we want to say, it's important to use the communication styles, proper communication styles, and be able to find some common ground. So when I got that feedback, I did a little bit of tweaks, and I really thought that it was for the better. So people For example, if I needed to get a report from someone or some kind of information, instead of saying, "Hi, how are you doing? I need this," I would go like, "Hi, how are you doing? How was your weekend?" If it was a Monday, for example, "Yeah, oh, that was fun." And I say, "Yeah, I did that too. I went to the mall," or whatever. And I would gauge in like 5 minutes of conversation. In the beginning, it was a bit artificial for me, to be honest. But after a while, it kind of, it works. And if it's going to get you better results, I think it's worth meeting people halfway, right? So if you're going to a new culture, it's really important to know, first of all, what your style is. And I was not very aware of that, to be honest. I knew it was assertive, but I thought it was a personality thing. And although there are issues regarding personality, it's also because I had arrived to Brazil from another country where this assertiveness was well seen, was something that people did. So it's important to know your own style. And if you're being influenced by other styles, for example, I was, right? I was immersed in a different culture where assertiveness was considered good and productive. And I went to a culture where this assertiveness was considered to be almost aggressive. So knowing your own communication style. And how do you know that? Well, if you feel like people are rambling and you get annoyed at people not getting straight to the point, you probably are a low context communicator. You probably like to get to the crux of the matter and get things done. If, on the other hand, you feel put off or feel even, like icky about someone who goes straight to the point, like, wow, he, hold on. If you have that feeling, you're probably a high context communicator. Knowing your own style is really important because there are certain trends, tendencies in populations and societies. So the more collective, for example, society is, the more high context it will probably be. The more individualistic society is, a culture is, the more low context it will probably be. So knowing that will help you communicate better. And always, observe how people are treating you. Observe, and don't take it personally, of course, because it might be, it probably is, a way of people communicating in that culture. But observe how, if you're more straight to the point, how people react. If you try things, experiment and see what fits. It's important that if it's the culture, that it gets results, and you can work your way through getting results and interacting with people in a productive and effective way. But also, it can't go against your values. So you have to. It's really important to fine tune and tweak it so you're comfortable with these changes and you're also willing to compromise in certain things which you're comfortable with, and you see that it gets results. You see that your life is perhaps easier when you speak a certain way and you follow certain unwritten rules of the society communication wise. So I hope this was helpful for you. If you are preparing to go to a new culture, this in the workplace, if you're going to work in a company, this is especially relevant, really, really important. But not only that, just, knowing how to deal with the local population is also very important to know these styles. So if you like this video, please subscribe, comment. I'd love to hear what you think, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.